Welcome back, Phasmophobia fam. I hope you're having a wonderful day. In today's video, we're going to cover sanity and Phasmophobia and what it means and why it's very important to pay attention to. I hope you find this useful. Also, if you're a new player, I've set up this entire YouTube channel with beginner's guides just for you. They're super easy to understand, very simple, break down the game, and it'll help you go from dying a lot to actually surviving, making some money in Phasmophobia. So I hope you enjoy that. Also, make sure you join up with the community. I'm on Discord, I'm on Twitch. The links for both those are going to be in the description of this video. And we have level 1 players in our community, brand new, just started today. We have level 6,000 players like myself. We're super friendly and welcoming, and it's a great place to learn how to play. And also, it's a great place to just make friends to play with so you can avoid the public lobbies. So, we would love to see you. Come on over and meet us. That would be really awesome. Now, here's the video. I hope you find this one useful. Okay, so sanity and Phasmophobia, it's very important. It affects the game in a lot of different ways. The most important way that it affects the game is actually going to be it controls when the ghosts hunt. So different ghosts hunt at different sanity percentages. When a ghost hunts, it basically manifests and tries to kill you. So it's very important to pay attention to. Now, you may be wondering, how do I lose sanity? Why does my sanity go down? Well, first of all, the sanity is divided up into two sections. You have a team average sanity, which you see at the top there, the 97, 100%. And then you have the player's individual sanity. So my individual sanity, obviously I'm the only one on the team, so my sanity is the average sanity, but you can imagine with 4 players, the average sanity is going to be one number, and 4 different players are going to have 4 different numbers. So why does it start to decrease? Well, it's going to start to decrease as soon as you go into the house and you're in dark areas. So this is going to be a passive drain. It's always going to be draining in the dark. Okay, and depending on the difficulty you're on, like higher difficulties, it's gonna drain faster. It generally slows down a little bit the bigger map that you go on, and if you're playing solo, it slows down. So there's a couple different factors there, but basically the harder difficulty you're on and the more people in the match, the faster it's gonna drain. So keep that in mind. Now, that's just from being in the dark. There's a couple other ways that your sanity is gonna drain that often go overlooked, and these can add up quickly to you getting hunted and leading you to believe that it's a early hunt as opposed to just these things adding up and decreasing your sanity further. So ghost events, when you get that hissing ball of mist or any hiss, or the ghost event happens and the ghost makes contact with you, you're losing 10% sanity in most situations. So if you get a couple ghost events in a row that stack up, all of a sudden you go from 70% sanity down to 40% sanity and you're getting hunted. You might think you were dealing with a demon or a yokai or something, when actually it's just your sanity is much lower than you thought in the moment. And you can always come back out here to the truck and check your sanity, except for on nightmare mode. So if you're playing nightmare mode, you don't have access to see what your sanity is, which is why nightmare mode is called nightmare mode. There's a lot of different things that make it very difficult. So good to know there. Another thing is going to be if a teammate dies. If a teammate dies, all living players will lose 15% sanity. But also keep in mind that the dead teammate no longer factors into the average sanity percentage. So that's a give or take. That might actually improve your sanity depending on the situation. Also, tarot cards. There's a lot of different tarot cards that can reduce your sanity. You might get tarot cards that give you ghost events like the Devil. You might get the Wheel of Fortune Red Burn, which is minus 25. You might get the Moon, which is a 0% sanity reset. So keep that in mind. I do have an individual guide on tarot cards and how they work and breaking down the meaning of every single one if you're interested in that. I also have guides on all the other cursed possessions on this channel as well if you want to go in depth with all that stuff. So I hope you're following along and this isn't too scientific and boring for you. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. There's a lot to cover here. And before we get into more of the other details, just understand, basically this is as simple as just pay attention to the sanity and understand that the lower it gets, the worse it's going to be for you. You don't have to memorize all this stuff. Just know that if you're in the dark, bad. If ghost does thing to you, also bad, decreasing sanity. And tarot cards may be bad as well. So you can simplify it as that. Now, some ghosts have abilities where they will drain your sanity, some hidden abilities and such. The Banshee has one. The Phantom has one. The Djinn has one. The Yuri has one. And the Polti has one. The Banshee, it picks its target. So the Banshee's known for picking one target and hunting that target. It gets a little more complicated if the target leaves the house, then it picks a new target. And basically, if you're the target of the Banshee and the Banshee does a singing ghost event near you, it drops an additional 5% sanity. So also Phantoms, when the Phantom can see you during a ghost event and you're within 10 meters, it's going to drop your sanity at an accelerated rate. The Djinn has a hidden ability that's often not talked about, and you'll actually get an EMF 2 without an interaction when this happens. But anyone near the Djinn, when this happens, when it does this little secret power here, loses 25% sanity. So that can be devastating for a team, especially with a ghost like the Djinn when the breaker's on. and it's running around all fast and just murking people, especially on something like Nightmare Mode, where hunts are extended after the kill and don't just end when your teammate dies. So that's wild. That's fun. The Yuri has a similar ability to the Jinn, but it's only a 15% drain instead of 25% drain. And the Poltergeist, when the Poltergeist is known for throwing items, and it can actually throw a bunch of items at the same time. When you're near the Poltergeist, for every item it throws, you get a 2% sanity drain. So you can imagine that it's just throwing, paint cans, forks, plates, all this stuff around you. That 2% can add up over time because Poltergeists are super active, so keep that in mind. Now, how do we gain sanity? Well, we gain sanity with the number one thing, sanity pills. You have to buy them to bring them in, but depending on the difficulty you're on, you'll get I believe it's 40% on amateur restored for each pill. You'll get 35, 30, or 25 with the increased difficulty. So in Nightmare Mode, each pill is 25% increase. So that's one known way. Another known way is going to be some of the tarot cards. So as we've gone over, some of the tarot cards will drain your sanity, but some of them can actually give you sanity. If you get the Sun, that's a complete 100% sanity restore. Very good. Just makes sure it's not the Fool. A Sun burning into the Fool. Make sure it's the Sun. Also, the Wheel of Fortune Green will give you a 25% increase. So that's really good. Now, what I want to do is, now that you have a general understanding of sanity and how it works, and we can get more in depth with actual sanity. I don't want to just get super scientific with it because you're probably not going to remember a lot of this stuff. You just want to know the basics. We're going to go over some of the ghosts, and we're going to go over all the ghosts and what sanity percentage they typically hunt at, and what some of the caveats there are, because some ghosts aren't always certain with it. And this is the kind of information you need to start getting into when you want to play Nightmare Mode, or start to identify the ghosts without having all the evidence, because ghosts do have these little characteristics that are unique to each individual ghost. But a super important one when you're on Nightmare Mode is identifying if it was an early hunt based on sanity, a late hunt, a normal hunt, all that kind of stuff. So let's get into the ghosts. So some early hunters. The actual earliest potential hunt in the game is going to be from the Demon, and they have a hidden ability that I showed in one of my recent YouTube videos where they can hunt all the way up to 100% sanity, and it's really freaky when they do this because it's a small chance, but when they do it, the demon will start walking towards you for up to 20 seconds, and when it gets near you, it'll just hunt right on you, and that can happen right when you walk into the door with a demon. So demons are the most aggressive ghosts in the game in terms of hunts. They can hunt the earliest and also the most often, but typically if it's not using that special ability, the demon will hunt at 70% average sanity, and it will have a small cooldown between hunts. So the demon can re-hunt you every 20 to 30 seconds when your sanity is below that. So the demons can be a real problem to deal with. But keep this in mind. If we're just talking average sanity and not the special ability of the demon to hunt up to 100%, for average sanity only, the yokai can actually hunt up to 80% sanity. So, but there's a caveat here. The caveat with the yokai is that it's going to essentially only do that when you're talking within 2 meters of it. So if the yokai hears you talking within 2 meters, it can trigger that hunt, and that's very scary and terrifying. Now, next is going to be the Raiju. The Raiju is able to hunt at 65% sanity when it's in the presence of electronic equipment. And the Raiju, if you've been on my stream, you've heard me rave about the Raiju because it's my favorite ghost, because it is by far the scariest and most dangerous in my opinion. Because it's an early hunter, 65% is going to be seen as early. Anything above 50 is really early in terms of Phasmophobia ghosts and hunts. And it's also almost as fast as like a Revenant. Like, it's super fast when it's around electronic equipment, hunts super early, and it can squad wipe you in Nightmare Mode at an insanely fast rate. It's awesome. I love the Raiju. So when you get one of those, it's going to be a party for sure. Also, to give the Raiju a warm ovation, on Tangled, when I had a Raiju, I did create a Raiju runway filled with motion sensors, dots protectors, and glow sticks. That video is on the YouTube. It's hilarious. We watched the Raiju speed down the runway, lighting up motion sensors. It was a blast, and it was terrifying as well. So go ahead and give that a watch if you want to see the Raiju in action. Okay, next, we're going to have the Mare. The Mare has a caveat here, so it's going to hunt at 60% sanity when it's in the dark. If you have the lights on, it hunts at 40% sanity, which is much more shade-like. So keep that in mind. And the Mare, in my experience, does like to move out of well-lit rooms to more dark rooms. So keep that in mind. Mares are fun, wild. They're kind of like that edgy teenager that likes to chill in the dark. We've all been there. Now, Onryo, and Onryo can hunt it up to 60% sanity. We can get really in depth with the individual ghosts and all their special abilities and stuff, because I don't want to waste too much time on that. But an early hunter is the Onryo, 60% sanity. They can hunt even sooner than that if they blow out a candle. So if the Onryo blows out a candle, it can start hunting. It won't start hunting if there's multiple candles lit in the ghost room. Next, we have All other ghosts in the game are going to hunt at 50% sanity. So that's the normal marker there. So when you get to 50% sanity, just about every ghost in the game can hunt you except for the mare when it's in the light. And also the shade, the shyest ghost in the game, the shade will hunt at 35% sanity as long as no one's in the ghost room. If you're in the ghost room, the shade isn't going to hunt. So that's an interesting way to do a shade test. So that's a breakdown of all the ghosts and the sanities which they hunt at. I'll leave you this little chart here, and I'll put it in my Discord for download, so if you find that interesting. But you'll learn this stuff over time. So that's a basic rundown of how the sanity works in Phasmophobia. And now you can have, the more you understand the game, the less scary it's going to be for you, and the better decisions you're going to make with guessing the ghosts, and the more you're going to survive and make money. So I hope you found this guide interesting. If you have anything to add or any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer just about every single question. And yeah, thanks for watching. Happy ghost hunting. Let's go.